and all of that, stress and kwa. But when you come to Ghana, Charlie, it's all about the vibe, the relaxation, the people are homely, friendly. I mean, whatever you need, you get somebody to give you a helping hand. And that is why I love my country, Ghana. When we talk about Ghana, we can talk about Ghana without food. We love our food. And the beauty of it is that every ethnic group has a particular food that they are attached to. But you know what? How it's also prepared is very, very important. And we have some traditional ways. You know, growing up, we used to have the pot, they call it kula musio, that we used to keep the water in there. There were ways of preparing, storing our water, preparing our foods. And today we want to talk about the earthenware. This earthenware, okay, let me show the earthenware to you, and called Asanka. Asanka is actually something that a lot of ethnic groups use. It's not just associated to one ethnic group, but almost every household has an Asanka. If you don't have an Asanka in your house, then I don't know what's going on. I know the blenders are here, but some way, somehow, when you grind your pepper and your onion in there, the taste is different. I don't know if the clay gives it a different flavor or what. But I want to give you some names that some ethnic groups have given to this Asanka, okay? With me, where I come from, we call it Ayiwa. Also, the story of the Asanka or Apotoyiwa, as known in Akan, is also known in Ghana as Ka or Ka. And Ewe as Verba. I think my Ewe brothers were trying to help me pronounce this, but it was really, really difficult for me. It's also referred to as a traditional blender, like I told you. And we can't talk about Asanka without the whole Ayiwa thing. Now, it was the first kind of pottery made dating back to 9,000 years ago. And so if we are celebrating our Ghanaian heritage, we can't celebrate it without talking about Ayiwa. We have our guest here, and they will help us talk more about the Ayiwa. I think there are types to it. So I have with me Madam Ama Oforiwa Menta. She is with the Dandelion Food Revolution. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm perfect. I'm blessed. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you. Doing well as well. And also we have Madam Bernice De Kuma. She's the director at the National Folklore Board. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you.
How are you?
Doing very well.
Fantastic. It's good. I love your afro.
Thank you.
I think you should get me one.
I'll buy you one.
Yes, you should. Yes. It's beautiful.
So that we wear it together.
Yes. Okay, so today we are talking about Asanka. And then we'll talk a little bit about our folklore too. But I just want us to talk about Asanka, our food. We love the food. What's your favorite Ghanaian dish?
I don't have one.
Oh,
it's too difficult to pick one.
How many? Okay, so how many do you
I love all of them. And not only Ghanaian food, I love food coming from all over the world.
So you love food naturally?
Oh, yeah. I love food.
I'm that type of person that when I see food, I dance. Do you do the same?
Wow, I speak to the food. Yes, okay. Because I think that food is a gift from the Creator. And food needs to be... Anytime you have food in front of you, as the word goes, Asanka, Mensa Akan, God has given. It's a Chi word, Mensa Akan. So Asanka is a tool that God provides food into for you to enjoy, to be nurtured. So anytime I have the food in front of me, you can't eat that food without acknowledging who made that food possible. And that's the Creator.
That's the Creator.
Yes.
Right. Auntie Bernice, what's your favorite Ghanaian dish?
Fufu and rice.
Ah, I nearly said it. I nearly said it. Why do you love fufu so much?
Growing up, my grandfather actually liked fufu. Okay. So we were brought up as kids, and I grew up with that. So every evening there's fufu. Yes.
Also, you don't sleep without eating fufu?
In the evenings.
Till date?
No, when I was young.
Okay.
Yes, because of my grandfather. But today, no.
Today, for health reasons.
Yes, yes.
I can imagine. Yes. But I still love fufu. Some people love to eat their fufu when it's overnight. It's placed there till the next morning and then they have it. But let's talk about our earthenware. It's a part of Ghana. You can't grow up in a household without seeing the earthenware. Tell us a bit about the earthenware, because the way you were like Mensaka, it means that you have a lot of knowledge with this earthenware. Tell us a bit about it.
So it's just first-hand knowledge. I think the earthy pot discovered me, and we grew in love with each other. And I think that what I know about the earthy pot is not something that may be prevalent or something that is pre-existing colonially, but it's something that I have learned from my modern use of the earthy pot. And one thing I can tell you about the earthy pot is that you can't use the earthy pot and abuse food.
Oh, really?
Yes, you can't abuse the food.
How? How's that possible?
Because of the way the food is made. You become an artist when you're cooking with the earthy pot. Because the way you combine your ingredients, I would even tell you that you can't cook in the earthy way and not ask questions. Because sometimes, most of the time you fail when you go with your own knowledge. You always have to ask the creator. And I think that the earthy way is a direct source to Obadiah himself. Because yes, you said it dates back to 1,000 years.
9,000
9,000 years.
Yes, not thousands.
So that means that first human, that Lucy that we all go to South Africa to go and watch, could have been one of the people who invented the earthy pot. And those people didn't look at others when they were creating, they looked to God. So you can't cook if the one who gave you the knowledge to make this. Because, you know, once you see an earthy-ware, you get the idea that this is when fire was invented. The refining fire. And why do we cook? You know, with time, we realized that certain meals could not be digested well until it was fired. So there was a need for man to create a tool that will process that food to make it breakable, to make it masticable, if there's a word like that. And the Asanka came, even the warmer and the withdraw.
It's another thing.
It's another thing.
We'll definitely be picking the warmer and withdraw topic another time.
Yes.
But let's talk about the earthenware. I'm coming to you, Auntie Bernice. You are with the Folklore Board, and this is something that, with time, it looks like scientists want to kick it out. They are bringing our blenders and their smoothers and all of that. How are you, as a part of the Folklore Board, making sure that we keep things like this in our homes?
Thank you. Even though there's a modernization that has brought blenders that we use, because sometimes it gives us the quickest way of doing things, still we cannot do away with our culture. Right. Or our folkloric items. So that is why we, mostly in the month of March, we set it aside so that we remind our people that our items that we have are necessary to be used in our home, especially the Asanka, because of the way we can use it. If you go to Kwando, we have a whole village that they are producing the pot that you can use to fry your egg. You can use
a pot to fry your egg?
Yes, you can. Yes. And we can use it to cook rice. You can use it to prepare palm nut soup. I went there and it was very beautiful. I even bought one. And I use it to cook rice myself. So we keep reminding the people that you cannot throw away your tradition. You cannot throw away what we still use. You can blend them. That's why we say culture is dynamic, because it's not static. That we continue to use what our forefathers are used and we don't add anything to it. We continue to use both the blender and the Asanka hand in hand, because each of them has the value it play in the home. So Folklore, we set the whole month of March. That is why we are having this program, to promote it, to remind people, if you have forgotten, go back and take it.
We'll definitely be talking about the Sankofa as well. But I mean, looking at the earthenware, which is our Asanka or Ka, there are some lines in there as well. And these lines are to enable you to grind and have a very, 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 very smooth finish to the ingredients that you grind in there. But let's also talk about the food that we eat in here. We know they eat fufu in here. Yes. We prepare the abom in here. Yes. There's so much that goes on in here. So I'm coming to you. Tell us a bit about some of the foods that we prepare in here, and which one is even your favorite?
Back to the favorite question.
Back to the favorite.
Wow. There are so many things that you can do in the Asanka, and the main reason why those ridges are there is to tell you that it's not everything that has to be cooked too much, because you even know that with the kontomire, we boil it and then after we transfer it here for it to be grinded. Yeah. It tells you that the fire sometimes is not the final place for the food. You still have to take it off the fire, break it down so that you can consume it. You can do the eto in it as well. And eto is a very traditional delicacy, and it's very historical because it gives you an insight about who we are and where we're coming from. I mean, we also have the garifoto. I know garifoto is not grinded, but we prefer to do it in the can or in the apotoyoa, because it's like it gives us a sense of being on fire, and sometimes we want to melt the oil before. Right. Yes. But the ridges, one thing about the ridges is that when you grind, what we all don't know is that when you grind, you eat some of the earthy part, because with time you see that the ridges, they rasta, they become flat. Yes. Yes, there's a reason why that is possible, because the soil that is used to make the apotoyoa is medicinal as well. The clay? The clay is very medicinal, and it cleans your gut. It's like a broom. Most of the time you see vegetables and stuff and people will wash them tediously and tight. Sometimes some level of dirt keeps you alive. Yes, and I know that some of these things were made so that we will eat the dirt without knowing we are eating it. And so dirt, a little bit of dirt is healthy. Yes. Also, we realized that they prepare some medicines in there as well. And again, I have to throw it to you, Auntie Bernice, because with the folklore, we can't throw away our traditions and our culture and our systems. But then for those who prepare the medicine in the pots or the earthenware, is it healthier than to prepare it in the I know that you are not a scientist, but let me ask you this. That is a question I can really answer. You want to answer with to that? With the metal pots, whether you know it or not, and it's good that we are talking about this here, the metal pot has been made in such a way that it keeps on weighing. Not only the metal pots, there are so many metallic qualities or matter that weigh off when you heat it. Right. And it was through heating that that thing was molded. So when you take it back on fire and it reaches to a particular level of Fahrenheit or degrees, it starts weighing off. And so I see a lot of women cooking for mass productions in the big, especially the metallic Asanka, the Dandelion, that wears off even more because it's been reused over and over and over again. So anytime you're cooking in a metallic pot, you have to know that you are eating some of the metal. I was diagnosed with, aluminium calcification. That's how come I met the Asanka, because I needed to look for an alternative of survival. And I mean, the closest alternative that a white man will give you will be titanium. And titanium is overly expensive. And I didn't see how I can advise the normal Ghanaian. If I say normal, I don't mean poor, but the average Ghanaian to adapt to this way of life, to cook in titanium, because it's like your whole salary goes into that. So I had to go back. So health-wise, yes, this is even better. It is. And there are no side effects to it. There are no side effects to it. And the good thing about them is that they've been made not to be eaten in for a long time. Roughly 4 years, you should put your old Asanka away, put it in a museum. If you don't even put it away, to break on its own. Not entirely. God will let it break. Yes. God will let it break. Yes. But there's nothing wasteful about an Asanka. Even when it breaks, you can turn it and fry an egg on it. And that's amazing. I mean, the beauty of the frying of egg, I think I should try it. Can we fry an egg in this particular one? No, you can't fry it. Okay, this is different. We have, yes, you can fry it in this. This is called Meriman Kwansing. Can I have it? I brought it for a particular purpose. Okay. When you go to Kwawa and the Ashanti region, Meriman Kwansing. Meriman Kwansing. Yes. It's also a part of earthenware, type of earthenware. Yes. Okay. And in the past, when the man of the house, we see men, society has put so much responsibility on the man. And what we are failing to understand is that in the past there was a system where an older man will advise a younger man on the hardship of life. So when a food or when a meal or fufu, we pound the fufu together and we keep this one for the men. We put their food in it. They sit around the table just like this, but a wooden one. And the men, you have an older man sitting, and the younger ones, the ones who just married, the ones who are now working, come and join him at the table. They eat and he advises them, because, you know, the man can be vulnerable, but it takes an older man to advise him that, yes, it's okay to be vulnerable.
But can a woman eat in it as well?
It's made for that purpose.
Okay.
There are other pots and women
So
can
this
eat.
one is more for eating and this is more for grinding, is that it? Or
yes.
It's more for eating and more for grinding.
Yes.
Auntie Bernice, what food will you eat in this one?
I think for us it's meant for the men. We can put banku and palm nut soup, granule soup, fufu, and light soup. Those are some of the favorite of the traditional men. Mostly if you give them rice, they want you to add light soup because they are brought up in that way. But currently in our modern time, if you serve the man, maybe you add rice and stew. And you know, if you go to homes, mostly, you know, when you come to the traditional setting, they use the wooden table. So it's easy to accommodate this kind of pot when you serve. But when you go to a home, when there's a table made of glass, when you ask the young boy to come and eat with the father, it doesn't...
It's difficult.
It's difficult. So, and that's why really I said that even though there's modernization, we should not throw away, because our culture identifies us who we are. Folklore is the expression of our culture. Expressing the food tells a story about who we are. So how do we, not just the food, but how has we been served in the past? So we shouldn't throw away that. So we keep on teaching our children at home what is the story about our food we eat and the way it's being served. And then also the one that we borrow from the foreign culture, this is how. So we blend both at home so that we don't lose our own culture and then practice a different culture.
Do we have types of earthenware?
Yes, we have several.
Different types.
Even modernity has brought 1,000 more varieties of earthy pots.
Really? Do we have the flat ones?
Yes.
I wish I could see the flat ones.
Yes. You can come to the Asanka Museum. The Folklore Board and Dandelion Ghana have come together to create an Asanka Museum at the National Folklore Board.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you enter there, we take you through history on how we used to use the pots, and how even when we have broken pots over there, because it's very significant and it's very indicative of who the Ghanaian is. We also have workshops. Today, we're having a workshop with the African American Association of Ghana. Okay. Because believe it or not, you have so many things in common with the African American that we've never had the opportunity to have dialogue over. Yes, they eat okra just like we eat our nkrumah.
Wow.
And so today we're having that workshop.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we eat rice in the earthenware?
Yes.
We can.
Yes.
Will you eat it with a fork and a spoon, or you have to eat it with your fingers? Because I don't know if we can eat rice in here with a cutlery.
You have to use your finger to eat it.
Fingers.
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody said the fingers are 5. S-P-O-O-N is a spoon. So
just use it to eat it.
Yes.
But we can't ever use a cutlery in there.
You can.
We can use. We can use it. You can use. You just have to practice and then you can use it. But the way you enjoy it, or it's more of our part of us, is that you use your finger.
Okay.
But if you want to use the fork, there's no restriction to it. It's just adding, blending modernization to our tradition. It goes on. That is perfect.
It's perfect.
Yes.
Let's talk about the types of foods that brings us together as people. I mean, as we're talking about earthenware, obviously the food is very, very important. We can't talk about earthenware without food. So there are types of foods. How does it bring us together as people, Anna?
Well, it brings us together. It makes us know that we're one people, because even with the process of cooking, look, even now when a woman decides to cook for her family, if she's home alone or she's with her kids, she'll definitely call one of the child, pick this for me, do this, do this. So that even the cooking process brings us together. The eating process brings us together. On a national level, I've traveled from the north to the south, to the east, to the west, and every town or region I have been to, I see an earthy pot. And it gives me a sense of togetherness, a sense of oneness, a sense of God in every single part of it, because you can see even in Europe. I saw it in Finland, I saw it in Germany. Yes, they have. I've seen it in Italy. The Italians also do the presto, and it's all over. So you get the sense that God doesn't speak to one people and that is it, as is made to believe. Yes, God can speak to the Israelites. God can speak to the Ghanaian, to the Ewe. So we're one people. So there's no need to fight. One last thing I'll say, I think that if Ukraine and Russia will sit down at a table like this and eat from an Asanka, they'll become friends tomorrow morning. So maybe they should consider
it. Maybe they should consider it. Eating in an earthenware is beautiful.
It is.
You know, parties in Ghana, it's like, that's what is making us homely people. That's what's making us loving people. We love to eat. I mean, coming to a party and I don't get food, I'll leave upset because I came for the party, for the food. I get to eat. That's why I came for the party. So what are some of the foods that makes people gather around, Auntie Bernice?
We can talk about if we are having a festival, for instance, in Volta region, you go to attend that festival, you'll be expecting to see akple and fettuccine or okra soup. And when you eat together, that's why every festival, they say it brings people together. It's not just the drumming and dancing, but where you eat together. You are not talking, maybe a family and a family, they are not talking. But that very festival, they eat together. And whilst they are eating, they are chatting. They are talking about their experiences, the day, how the day went. And in that conversation, it brings us together. Also, food gives us memories. If you eat together with somebody, even though you have left the event or where you gathered to eat, when you go back, that memory of how you were eating and you were discussing issues concerning life and issues will give us memories. Food also gives us how we train our children, because as they eat, they learn how to manners, table manners and all that. So eating together with your children on the table, they are learning. It's a learning process. So all this is means by which food brings us together, or we learn when we eat food at home.
And again, it's not the type of food, but it's every food, right?
Every food. Even the rice.
Yes, every food.
Ghanaians love the rice.
Yes.
But it looks like whenever there's the pounding of fufu or the preparation of the banku, people come together more. Because you know when they're pounding, there's the one pounding, there's the one stirring, and then there's also another person sitting down chatting.
Yes.
How come that alone has like 3 or more people, you know, preparing it? But when it comes to the rice, you know, you put it on the fire, you leave and you go. But when it comes to that preparation, when even with the banku, when somebody is stirring, somebody will be sitting by the person having a conversation. I mean, how come that it's happening with our local foods? Let me ask you this, Amma.
You know, I call it collective advantage. And, you know, when you're cooking and you invite somebody to join you, it's an opportunity to let go. You're telling the person, I see you. I mean, we may have problems, but this is the point where we have to work this together. I can't pound this fufu without you. It's just like the nation. Look, when we all come to pound the fufu, the nation has to eat. It's a sign that I see you. You may be black, you may be white. Yes, there are white people who have nationalized to be Ghanaian. You may be coming from all over the world, but once you are around, I see you. So if Kofi is around, Kofi, come and pound. And if you don't pound, you don't eat. So there's that need to come and touch the food and to tell you that you matter. No matter who you are, everybody eats. Is there anybody who doesn't eat in this world?
Of course not.
Show me that person.
Yeah.
And I will ask him how that is possible. We all eat. So our way of cooking is a way that we break barriers, we link bridges. That's how we relate with each other. Some people may never talk, but when mother and daughter may never have a conversation, but when it's time for the fufu, ajwa uwehi, brana bewo fufu no mekana wawo.
That's so true.
Yes.
And I said, because
because if you make it too big, you abuse the food.
Yes, that's so true.
And that's also a symbol of unity. Yes, it brings us together.
As one people.
As one people. So it's one of the symbol of unity, where one person is pounding, one person is turning, one person is even bringing the plate for us or the earthen boat for us to put the fufu inside. So all this chain is showing us that unity, there's strength in unity. If you can pound it alone, by the time you finish, you're already tired. So you cannot do it alone. So that is a symbol. From the beginning, we were taught that there's a need for us to be united. And when we are united, you can achieve that aim within the shortest period.
Growing up again, we remember there was a lot of chop bars. There were a lot of chop bars. What's happening to our chop bars?
They're still there. Oh?
I think the numbers have gone down. The restaurants have taken over.
Yes. You see, when, as you rightly said, those days there were a lot of people were not teaching them how to package or grow from chop bag to restaurant. But in current time, there's education. We don't just leave the women to be just doing chop bar throughout your life. You should upgrade it. That's why we need to package even our food to make it attractive. So there's education so that you can move from chop bar to restaurant, so that the hygienic level of our food is improved. Because it's not improved, that's why they look at it as not old function. So nobody should go for the food. But when you package it very well, it will be attractive, and even the youth, you don't struggle, you don't make a lot of effort, and they will appreciate our traditional food. That is why this current time, you see that we don't have a lot of chop bag, because we put them together, Women Association, we bring people who are business conscious to teach them, even the market women, so that you can gradually progress to the level where you have a big investment. One day, when you are tired, you can be at home, and then investment can yield for you.
Definitely.
But there's definitely also a place for the old way that we used to do the... Look, I remember Patake Siase in Kukumlimli, and when you went, the way they made it was so traditional. That woman didn't become a restaurant like the way Heavy Do has evolved into a restaurant. But I think that there's a purpose. Certain chop bars had a purpose to keep... You know, sometimes these establishments, this street food or these chop bars, they hold history. They are not just there, they are manifesting what they are to even outside. I don't mean outsiders as in foreigners, but maybe the Ewe woman can see more about their accounts through their chop bars. And that's why it's very important. I think that also with the advent of film, coming from the Western world, we were exposed to the life of the other. The African gaze. I mean, there's something called the African gaze, where in film, certain films were made to make the African feel low or feel demeaning. And regardless of the fact that these practices are one of the best practices, neatest. Look, when I began to understand what cleanliness meant to the divine order, I realized that we've been lied to, or we allowed ourselves to pick other cultures that didn't really help us in any way. So our film, our television, what we are showing to people, we're telling people you can be this. It's like the pots. Many of the modern pots, you buy them and you put them on your stove and they break immediately, you put on them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The recent ones that are made?
Yeah. I've had this for over 6 years and I'm still using it. But the modern pots, some of them are beautiful. I mean, if you see them on your table, every newly wedded wife will flaunt around them. But please, they are not functional. They don't do their job. And coming from someone who has to live by them, they don't do their job.
Then how will I know which one is best to purchase?
Yes, that's a very good question. Every pot sings. When you go and buy, those who make the pots, the very good ones, those who know about the pots, they are the old women. Some of them are 100. Auntie Bruni, she's 100 years old and still strong. She will make the pot. She'll tell you, Ama, this is for this. She's the one who explained the conseil and all those things to me. And you see that they are not just women or mothers. They have more knowledge about their environment. These are people who understand. They're like,
but if it's not everybody that will have access to them.
Yes. Yeah.
So if I'm a lay person and I want to go and purchase, okay?
And you hit it.
Yeah.
Every pot sings.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every pot sings.
Yes.
Okay.
If it has a double keke, that means there's a crack somewhere that your eyes can't see. But if it's just you see, this one has a double because there's a crack here. There's a crack somewhere here. Yes.
Oh.
So you see, there's a double. The sound. It vibrates in a double tone. So you know that. Yes. So you know that it is broken sound, because sometimes when you buy the new pots, you never see the crack until you cook in it for the first time.
All right, let's give it a try again. Okay. Because I know people are like, wow. Okay, we're going to try again.
Yes.
This is good.
So this is good. Yes. So there's no double sound to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is actually very heavy. Very, very, very heavy. Amma is holding it like it's not light at all. But let me give it a try again. So, okay, this has an echo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Right. Okay, so now we know the difference. So if you're purchasing a pot, make sure that you hit it to
knock it up.
Knock it, don't break it though. to get the sound right, so you know you're purchasing the right songs. But you, the right pots. There are beliefs of people not eating certain foods. You know, in Ghana here, you know, ethnic groups. Some of them are. Believe that you can't eat certain foods. You can't even eat certain foods in the pot. Do you know about them?
No. You ask, is every region or every tradition, they have their belief. For instance, if you are coming from a northern region, a part of northern region, they eat dog. But when you come to a Volta region, they don't eat. That doesn't mean that it's bad, but that is what is their belief, or that is how they express their food. So each community, what they eat.
Could it be that there's a spiritual backing to it?
No, it couldn't be. Really, if you look at it, it's not any spiritual backing. There was a keynote address who came to a Folklore when we were launching the Asanka Food Festival. And he was saying that when he was researching, realized that when you see somebody serve a food and you have not tasted the food before, you will negotiate. You will see whether you start looking at it, what are the ingredients they use to prepare the food. So you are making your mind with the ingredients, if they are similar to that of where you are coming from, then you appreciate it. There's no spiritual belief behind the food. For instance, if somebody like Akple in Volta region, there's some spiritual belief, no. Or somebody like Fufu in the Akan tradition, I don't believe there's any spiritual. No, it is just what that community started with, the food they were introduced, or maybe the land, what you produce most. Yes, so when you are in Volta region and you plant cassava, you are not getting cassava, what do you start doing fufu, especially in the south, where you get a lot of maize. So when you grow up as a child, you are fed on akple.
Sometimes they tell you stuff. They tell you stories.
Yes.
Because they'll tell you so many stories that
the Krobos don't eat snails, for example, because it's regarded as a dirty, I won't call it, meat. Yes.
Yeah.
I also think that our early doctors were medicine men. When we didn't have a school to go and study science, we used to call them medicine men. And they did operations. Yes, they did. There are evidence that people were operated on by the traditional doctors. And sometimes the ways that they got to understand some of the things that they did had a lot of spiritual connection. They were very spiritual people. They listened within. They listened to who their maker was, and everybody is a spiritual being. So you have to go within you to, especially if you say you're a Christian, the Christians have the Holy Spirit. How can you exist as a Christian without having that personal interaction with the Holy Spirit? That's what the traditionalists also have. And anytime the Holy Spirit told them, this is not the time to eat this, because sometimes you see them eat the snails for certain purposes. For medicinal purposes, there were things that were taboos, but they went to it because that was what the Spirit told them to do. Yes, it's a form. Revelation is the highest form of knowledge, I believe. Yes, and I know there are lots of people out there who also believe that. No matter the source, but as a Christian, if the source is coming from the Holy Spirit or from God, you know that this is truth. It is truth. Science may not be backing it. And I tell you, sometimes I had somebody...
But do you eat snails?
I love snails.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Somebody hit my hand with warmer, and I had this caca, and I went everywhere. I couldn't solve it. And then the Holy Spirit said, do this, do that, do that, and how to cook it. And
you cooked your hand?
No.
Okay.
A tomato.
Okay.
Yes. So I put it...
Well, you use tomatoes to heal it.
I'm telling you, I put the tomato on my hand, and that same tomato, I used soup with it, and I wasn't supposed... I'm not saying this because everybody tries it may work.
Yes.
This is what I was directed to do. So I cooked the soup, just for me, not for the rest of the family. And then I didn't add, I was instructed on what not to add and what to add. I didn't go to a pastor to get this knowledge. The Holy Spirit whispered to me, and I did it. And immediately I drank the soup. I even forgot I had a hand that had the cancer on it. It just left. And this is a finger. If you think I'm lying, this is a finger.
Wow.
Yes.
I think this is something else. The food that we eat can actually be healing.
It is healing. You got it right there. It is healing. It is healing. There are so many things that God wants to communicate healing to us. Even through, sometimes it's even where you find yourself, because healing is in your environment. There are certain places that have certain energy that may not be appropriate for you. In the past, the medicine men will say, don't go here. It is a taboo. You know, they had to say it that way so that those who were in spiritual fear will make them stop going there so that they could get better. But with time, we understood that it was because they didn't have a better way of explaining to us that there's something called alkaline, something called acidic, there's something called organic, there's something called... All the things that we made it so explain it in the modern scientific way.
Let's talk about the importance of our local dishes. Our very own contemporary. There's the nyadua boom. There's the lice soup with the abenkwai, the katemkwai. There's so many varieties with our local dishes. Let's talk about the importance. Let me start off with you, Auntie Bernice.
The food that you mentioned, food is medicinal. I think it's the first way of healing yourself before even going to the hospital. When you eat a food, sometimes some food that we take cleans our system. We don't even know. We assume that we are just consuming food, but it has its function to clean your system. Sometimes some of the food, we have certain vitamins that we lack, and all these vitamins that we go to the drugstore to buy, vitamin C, vitamin D12, and all, they are all packed in the various kind of food that we eat. So our food contains the vitamins that we run to the drugstore to buy. So that is why you have to put the food that you are eating in the right way. When you are serving maybe fufu, like that, you shouldn't add only cassava. You should add plantain, you should add cocoyam. So you put it together in a mixture. So when you eat, you are not just consuming only carbohydrate, but you are consuming something which is iron, because we have plantain, there's iron in it. And when you prepare lice soup, sometimes it's good, you can put contobre in it. It looks as if it's not real, but that contobre adds some vitamin to your system. So a food is good for healing us. Yes. And apart from that, food also help us to get energy, to renew your energy. Food plays that role. So food contributes to well-being of a human being in different and diverse ways.
I think one thing that we know is the palm nut soup. We've been told that it gives a lot of blood.
Yes.
And the abedru,
yes.
the turkey berries.
Yes, yes. Turkey berries.
Even the nursing mother, when you take the palm nut soup,
you get more breast milk.
Yes, yes. So we have a lot that the food offers, just that we don't study and we assume that when I'm taking drugs, some even take drugs without taking food. You take it in empty stomach, and they don't know the harm they are causing to themselves.
But our local dishes can actually serve as a medicine for you as well.
Yes.
I remember my mom was going for an operation, and she was told to take the turkey berries, like you said, to boost her blood before she comes in, so that she doesn't need to be given extra blood.
Yes.
So our food is really, really important. Yes. Let me ask what the National Folklore Board is doing this Ghana month.
This Ghana month, we are not promoting only food. We also promote our symbols. Those are part of the mandate given to Folklore Board. We have Adinkra symbols that also give a meaning, tell a story about a particular people. We also promote our dance, folklore dance. But every year we pick one of the folkloric elements and we promote it. This very month we zero on food. That's why we started from 28th of February up to getting to the end of March. So our aim for this month is to promote our food. For instance, if you talk about papransa, most youth, they don't appreciate it. If you talk about akache, they don't like it. If you even ask them to come and eat, they don't know how very nutritious that food is. So we decided that this month or this year, 2022, we are going to promote our food different, not only, that's why we call it intercultural. We brought people from Italian to come and cook, and let's see the differences and the similarities. We also brought vegetarians to come and cook, so that we see that even if you will not eat meat, you can just feed on plants and you'll be fine.
You'll definitely be fine.
Yes.
That's great. Amma, your final words before we leave.
Well, final words. I think that it's very important that every Ghanaian will understand what the pots are saying about who we are as Ghanaians. And so this is an open invitation to every Ghanaian to pop by at the Asanka Intercultural Food Festival to have a tour.
When is it happening?
It's still happening now.
happening.
Yes, so you can, it's just a simple setup where we have the museum in it to explain to you where the pots, I mean, everything we've spoken about.
And the venue is?
It's at the National Folklore Board. It's in the premise of Du Bois Center as well.
All right.
Adjacent U.S. Embassy. Yes, easy drive through the U.S. Embassy, you drive in.
And we have a car park.
Yes, a car park.
You can have this luxury of
and
parking.
Different types of food.
Yes.
I can't wait to come and
On Saturday, we have in Krobo. You know in Krobo?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for children. Yes, we used to play with sand and leaves. Yes, this is bring your children to come and play with sand and food and to learn how to cook.
And today, African Americans, they are going to cook. They also eat okro. And as we also eat okro in Ghana, they are Caribbeans, so there are a lot of things to learn today. And that's part of the workshop. We are inviting the public to come. We can't do it because when we talk and nobody is there, it's like we are just promoting it and nobody is appreciating.
We'll be there. We'll be there to support. Thank you so much for being here. We are super grateful. It's all about the Ghana month. Make sure you pass through this event. Let's enjoy our Ghanaian dishes. Different dishes will be on display. And of course, the children can also go and play on Saturday. Thank you for watching the show today. We've had so much fun, but make sure that when you go out there, you embrace Ghana. Talk about Ghana. Love your country. Our heritage is beautiful. Our tradition is beautiful. Our culture is amazing. I love you. My name is Roslyn Felly. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Them say me no fit jump. Them say you no fit jump.